All right, we good?
Yes, we are. Welcome. This is Dave Daly with Kaiser TV. We are bringing to you today Coffee with Cathy, September 19th, 2020. And Mayor Cathy, thank you so much for being here under these circumstances. And we've got some guests. We've got Betty Hart with our fire district. We've got Colleen Bush with our transportation chariots. And we've got Jonathan Thompson with our Kaiser Chamber of Commerce. So Mayor Clark, take it away.
Well, thank you so much, David, for putting this together. The word of the year has been flexibility. We've had to adapt. We had started going back to doing both the Coffee with Cathy on Facebook Live, visiting with you this morning like we are now, and then having in-person gatherings. But with the fires over the last couple of weeks, we can't meet inside because of COVID. We can't meet outside because of the air quality and possibly rain today. So here we go. We're going to visit on a few things that are really going to be helpful, I hope, for you and for our community as we figure out where we are going from here. Just a couple of things I want to mention to you is that over the last couple of weeks, communications have been absolutely critical. We've had some people who have really stepped up to make sure that we get the right information to people and to answer questions that come up so they don't become rumors when people try to make up answers to questions when they don't get good information. David, you've been really helpful in making sure we get good video feeds on the ground. A picture paints 1,000 words, and we're able to see what's going on. A huge shout out also to Elizabeth Smith, City Councilor, who worked with me to help make sure that we were getting accurate information to the people of Kaiser, also to the community of Detroit, where she had a home there as well, and to make sure that people knew where to get accurate information about evacuation, about resources, about locations to go. We want to make sure that people have the right information so that they can get help quickly and that people don't divert to maybe less than upright efforts to personally profit. So unfortunately, it does happen in these times as well. So with that in mind, number one, we need to make sure that everybody who has been affected from the fires registers with FEMA. Don't go to somebody's link says, hey, I can help you, because really it is super easy. Do it yourself. Please do it yourself. The website is www.disasterassistance.gov. www.disasterassistance.gov. As of yesterday morning, over 2,000 people had already registered. This site is up and running. FEMA is working very closely with the Office of Emergency Management. They've been on the ground here for well over a week, if not longer, offering assistance to our Office of Emergency Management and Emergency Services. There's also a mobile app. And then if you need to use the telephone, it is 1-800-621-3362. Register with FEMA. The major disaster declaration makes you eligible for benefits for personal assistance, getting back with building or other losses that may have occurred to you or your neighborhood. So please help us get that out there to folks. That is critical as we shift to the recovery phase. Also critical is care, self-care, making sure that you're taking care of yourself. Remember the old thing on the airline, put on your oxygen mask before you assist the person next to you. Take time for yourself. That's important. Take time for your family. Check in. Like we've been saying all along through COVID, those lessons still apply here. And I have been so blessed to hear the stories, how people have reached out and cared for each other during the fires, taking in people, taking in animals. Volcano Stadium has been home to several families from Gates and that community, including their ducks and chickens. So the community has been wonderful, reaching out to our neighbors from Gates and Mill City, and just really help people know that they're not alone, that they're being cared for and they matter. Everyone matters, and we're going to make sure we do the best for them. Family support, school started. There's a lot of kids that are also struggling with that and getting up and running in new routines. So again, reach out and connect with people. The behavioral health, Marion County mental health services have really ramped up. So if you know anybody who needs assistance in that regard, it is important. Those are vital health services for mental health care. So we can be in this for the long haul in a good space personally and in our community. And finally, I can't emphasize enough, Give Smart. The same folks that have been helping us with through COVID are also on the ground here for the fires. Red Cross, Union Gospel Mission, the Fairgrounds Foundation, they are also helping with funds for the care of animals. I got out there and helped wrangle goats on a couple of nights. Some skills come back. And horses, cows, llamas, a tremendous amount of animal care helped. But if you see pop-ups, either don't go there or unless you know them. I really want to emphasize give local, give smart, because the dollars and the resources that you provide will actually get to people in need. So with that, I'm going to stop and pass it off to my colleagues here. And I'm going to go to Colleen Bush because Chariots has been, again, stepping up for people in need to be able to travel and get to where they need to go safely during the fire emergency. Thanks for joining us, Colleen.
Thank you. Colleen Bush again on the board for Chariots, representing them today. And it's an honor to be here. I just want to thank all of our first responders, all the volunteers, all those who said this job needs to be done now and gets on the ground and goes and does it. Communities have been saved from disaster because of those wonderful attitudes, thanks to the Red Cross, churches, businesses. Jonathan's going to speak to that. The neighbors, families here and across the country, there have been outpourings from, at least on my Facebook page, of people saying, how can we help even though we're not here? So we direct them to the places that Mayor Clark has spoken to. So just a couple of human interest stories. I shared this at the Neighborhood Association meeting the other night, and I want to share it again here. Some heroes may never make the headlines. So I want to share some life-saving work that some Chariots staff and extra folks have done in this scenario. It's kind of emotional now. So on Tuesday evening, September 8th, when things were really, really tough, Chariots received a call for help from the Assisted Living Center, Elliott residents at Marion Estates in Sublimity. And they were on an evacuation 2 notice. So we sent 5 buses from our regional and Chariots lift fleet operated by our contracting services, MV. The staff included the general manager, Timothy Williams, who was also an EMT. So he had some extra expertise to help the project happen. Drivers, Robin Yielding, Elizabeth Longoria, Jorge Mendez, and Christopher McCree. Also, our contracted service manager who directs all of this, Sue Ann Coffin, lived near the estates and she jumped in and helped out as well. They spent 2.5 hours boarding 25 residents in mobility devices and those who could walk without aid. And they were safely evacuated to another facility in Clackamas. So after putting in a long day of work, they did this extra effort on behalf of our community. And I just want to say, yes, great job. Our contracted partners just stepped up to that. And then another thing, let's see. There's some potential for relocation of some of our services to St. Edward and Kaiser. We put out a flyer at the fairgrounds to let people know that Fare Free is still available and you can get there. And if you need to get to Kaiser, please use us. The staff that was presented to the Marion County staff to help that out. So we'll hear more as long-term needs of those utilizing shelters become available. So we are still operating a reduced service, still backdoor entry, but some great stuff happening. By the end of the month, we should be 95% of our pre-pandemic weekday service. And continue to be 100% service on Saturdays. So today, all routes are operating great, except for up to a certain point in the canyon. We have stopped where ODOT says don't go. And if you get on Oregon Department of Transportation, you can see what is actually available and safe to travel on. So these are sites that I received. I feel I'm Vanna White here. Look at my paper. Most Chariot's local routes are still operating from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. We want to take all necessary measures to ensure health, safety of our employees, customers, and community, which again, we've all had to be flexible, right? 2020, the year of flexibility. We have extra hires coming on. We've distributed KN95 masks donated to us by Marion County to our staff to help protect them from the hazardous air, and so we can continue to safely connect people with places. So if you guys have any questions for me, I can try and answer them.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Colleen. And thank you to all of the staff at Chariots who have made sure that people can get where they need to go and didn't have to worry about whether they could get there, that you were there for them. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Just a personal note here. We traveled to Montana on Monday the 7th, and we were in the middle of that huge windstorm that came down here. By the time we got into Washington on 395 and I think it was Highway 26, we had to pull off the freeway. It was so bad. And 6 hours we were stuck. I appreciate the transportation entities of Washington and their attitude towards safety for everybody else. But we became a community. It was great. We made it to our family in Montana, and the smoke was just entering into Montana where we were by the time we left on Friday of last week. So coming back into Oregon was rather traumatic. And so I'm ready to help now. I think I can do something. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you to Chariots. And we're glad you also have safe travels. Everybody's been looking out for each other and really connecting up. So this is a fire. So let's talk fire. Betty Hart with Kaiser Fire District.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm delighted to talk about the fire district. Needless to say, there's just a huge amount of stuff going on. First of all, we had sent a crew, 4 people actually, down to California probably 3 weeks ago now, and they were there for almost 2 weeks before they returned, and they were just back, and the fire broke out up the canyon. So there was a lot going on. We've sent crews to quite a few fires. We sent a couple of people and our brush rig over to Mosier. We've had a firefighter that's part of the incident management team on the Santiam fire. And one of our division chiefs, Chief Russell, is the assistant task force leader at the Santiam. And our deputy fire marshal, who also serves as our public information officer, Anne Marie Storms, is working with, I think, 2 other public information officers from various locations, such as the fairgrounds and the command center for the fires, to help get out good information to people. We had a board meeting Tuesday night, and she came on and indicated that she is delighted to have this experience because it's so different than everything else. We also sent a firefighter up to the Holiday Farms fire to be part of the incident command team. And we also sent 2 firefighters with our brush rig over to the Dowdy conflagration as part of a Marion Yamhill task force that went to help with that. So we've been spread all over. We also had, I think, it's hard to keep track of what all is going on. Needless to say, people are going up and down River Road, still the fire trucks and the ambulances to serve people in Kaiser. And we continue to do that as well. For the fires that are outside of Marion County, we often are able to get reimbursed from FEMA for the overtime that we incur. And needless to say, we have been incurring quite a bit of overtime as people have had to fill in for those who are away. And I have to say, I couldn't be more proud than I am of the Kaiser Fire District and its personnel. They work hard every single day. And right now they're working even harder than usual. It's just amazing. And I also want to take time to really thank the people of Kaiser, because the fire district would not be able to be in this position to help people with the fires without the support of the voters in Kaiser, who have helped us get new equipment. And as a result of the new equipment, we were able to take some of our older equipment. In fact, we have a 2004 Astro van, which is a passenger vehicle that we have surplused, and we're going to look for a place to sell it. Well, it turns out that the Detroit Fire District lost a lot of stuff, and so we're donating that passenger van to them to use. So it's, I'm really pleased that we're in that position to be able to help another fire district. So it's just really amazing to me how much the fire district really has grown over the last few years, and what we're trying to what we're able to do, not only for the people of Kaiser, but to help other people. Because I'm sure everybody would identify with me that during the fire, even though we were never on alert here in the Kaiser area, I certainly wondered if that might change, with the winds coming, and quite frankly, as dry as everything was, wouldn't take much to start a fire here somewhere that could create havoc for all of us. And if we would rely on others to help us if that were the case. So I appreciate our opportunity to help others so that we can help them. Anyway, so we also have continued our emergency resolution so that we keep our fire station closed to the public, and to help protect our firefighters when they're there, so they are getting exposed to COVID, which of course they sometimes do when they're on a call, and then they will stay home for a couple of weeks to be sure they don't get the disease and expose others. So, all in all, we're doing pretty well. I think morale has been good. And like I said, I am very proud of each and every one of them and the hard work that they're doing now and every day.
Well, we're very thankful for our fire district and all the personnel. They're professionals, they're volunteers, but at the end of the day, they are people who are dedicated to life and safety. And we are very deeply appreciative of all of them for stepping up, as we knew they would,
Yes.
to help out our neighbors. It's the Kaiser way, is what we do.
Exactly.
Thanks for reminding me. The Kaiser Police has also been responding in the Canyon, working with our other law enforcement agencies for safety and security, also search and rescue and other law enforcement and public safety functions. So I want to let people know that, yes, our public safety personnel have been involved in the area-wide collaborative response to keep people safe.
Yeah.
So
well,
very, very thankful.
I was going to say, it has to be really scary for anyone who has received maybe not even a level 2 alert, and all of a sudden the fire's in their yard and they have to leave immediately, virtually without notice. And it's got to be really scary. And some of the stories that have been published in the Statesman Journal have been heart-wrenching, and also some have been, really make me feel happy that people were able to be resourceful and manage okay. And I think of the couple that stayed in the creek for for like 18 hours to avoid the fire before they could be rescued. That's just amazing. Yeah. So good for everybody who is doing what needs to be done to help make. And it's a pretty, well, it's hard to say how many people have died because there are some that are still missing, but still the loss of life is I think relatively low, and hopefully it stays that way. So.
We hope so as well. There's been 4 confirmed so far that have passed away and 1 reported missing. But they do have teams on the ground, both here and all the other major fires, to do the search, rescue, and then recovery if there are people who did not make it out. So we will watch those numbers as they are reported from official sources. Right. But I think you're right that because of preparedness of so many people, and I can't emphasize enough for people in Kaiser, good reminder, if you've got debris around your house, now's a really good time to get rid of it. Become part of the solution, not part of the problem, to make your place fire safe, and your insurance companies will thank you as well. So with that, I want to go to Jonathan Thompson, our Kaiser Chamber of Commerce. Once again, if there's a way to serve the community and do it in an amazing way, our chamber has totally stepped up. Danielle Bethel spent a week down at the fairgrounds helping with large animal housing down there for people with horses, llamas, et cetera, et cetera. I didn't see that in her position description, but
other duties as assigned.
That's right. And dragged everybody else with her. The chamber office became a collection hub very quickly for people to donate, because Kaiser people want to make a meaningful difference, and we needed to give them a place to bring things. Corey was ferrying things back and forth to the fairgrounds as the resource centers began to be stood up over the course of the first week of the fires and evacuation processes. And because of that collaboration, we've been able to do smooth handoffs, one step to another, as the responses become more organized and more widespread for the entire Marion County area. Red Cross has been amazing on the people side. 4-H has stepped up on the animal care side as well. And people with expertise have been able to find the website to sign up for shifts to help. Union Gospel Mission for warehousing, and United Way. Wow. Their partnership between all of the organizations has helped get people what they need in a very timely manner. Our chamber has been deeply involved in a very meaningful way right from the start. Jonathan, the leadership that you, the board, and the staff have provided have really made Kaiser proud. Turn it over to you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, we got the call Tuesday morning after Labor Day that they were standing up that evacuation center, and there was, at the time, no one to run the animal barns. So in typical, our executive director, Danielle Bethel, in typical Danielle style, we took it over. Well, I should say she took it over, and she dragged the rest of us with her. So we ended up having chamber people on the ground, several chamber people on the ground, and I can't even begin to name them all because I'll forget somebody, because it was dozens of chamber people on the ground from Tuesday until we handed everything off to the county on Sunday. And a huge shout out to Danielle, because I think from Tuesday to Sunday, she was gone from the fairgrounds for probably less than a total of 10 hours. I mean, there were 48 hours at a time where she was there. She'd go home for 3 hours, take a shower, and come back. I mean, it was an amazing effort. She did a great job organizing everything. As we were transitioning Sunday night to the Marion County that was taking it over, one of the people who we were helping came up and said, this is going to stick with me probably for the rest of my life. But she's like, I'm so sorry you guys are leaving. I feel like the magic is leaving Disneyland, and it was just so much fun to work with those people. There was probably the largest bull that I've ever seen in my life. And He would look at you when you walked by, but he wasn't mad at you. He wanted you to come pet him on the head. It was like a dog. It was the most bizarre thing, but every time you walk past, you have to pet the bull. And then I will also never forget the tortoise, because who thought we would have to house a tortoise? So, but that was amazing. And like I said, I can't thank enough for Danielle, but I also can't thank the Kaiser community enough for what they did to step up. Just a couple of examples: as we were standing up the evacuation center, Alex from Mommy and Maddie showed up at the chamber with 2 pallets full of water in the back of his truck. Oliver Coker with Kaiser Liquor called his Pepsi distributor and had pallets of water drop shipped to the fairgrounds. I mean, people stood up in small ways with dog food, which was awesome. People stood up in big ways with pallets of water, which was much needed. And then as we were at the fairgrounds, you know, we had little needs that came up. We needed horse halters, for example, or we needed dog leashes. A gentleman who wanted to help showed up, and he pulled me aside. He said, "You with the chamber?" I said, "Yes." And he's like, "I want to help." And he just handed me $1,000 in cash. And I said, I'm sorry, sir, I can't give you a receipt. I have no way to do this. He's like, "I don't care about the receipt. Just keep doing what you're doing." So it was amazing with things like that. So as we've transitioned out of the fairgrounds, now we're doing a lot of things that are kind of smaller, I'll say niche needs. United Way, Red Cross are doing phenomenal work on a large scale. But for example, this week up at Drake's Crossing, the Drake's Crossing Fire Department did, it was heroic work up there. I can't even imagine how those volunteers pulled off what they did, but it was an amazing thing. But they lost one of the buildings they used to store their fire trucks. It burned. They weren't able to save that. And so they launched a fundraising campaign to build something to put their equipment in. And we had a local guy here who wishes to remain anonymous, but he came in, he said, "I have $5,000. Can you get it to Drake's Crossing?" Of course we can. I mean, we don't necessarily have the processes that some of the bigger charities can go through. We can react quicker. So we did. There was a guy up in the canyon who had a ton of chickens, and he couldn't evacuate because he had nowhere to go the chickens. Well, late last week, he was running out of chicken feed, and if he left the evacuation zone, they weren't going to let him back in. So we were able to use some donations from Kaiser to buy 250 pounds of chicken food, drive it to the checkpoint, and then he met us with a gator and took it up. So it's just, we've transitioned doing a lot of the little things that some of the big charities are not. It's not in their playbook, but it is in ours. So we're going to continue to do that. If you'd like to help, please reach out to the chamber. There's, like I said, there's a lot of these little needs that we hope we can fill. And then lastly, we're looking ahead to the gift basket program in December. That's coming at us quick. If you haven't bought tickets to be part of the Percy auction, please do. That started this week. It's a Facebook event since we can't do the big event at the convention center at Civic Center this year. So that's going. It started, I believe, this week. So if you haven't bought tickets, please reach out to the chamber and see. When you buy tickets, you get into the Facebook group and can bid on the stuff. And we've also been able to sponsor the schools in Kaiser. So many of their teachers were invited to the group as well. Through those sponsorships of local businesses. So, and then also as we look ahead to Percy, one of the things we have a need for, and I'd love for people to keep their eyes out, is we need a sorting station for where we can sort and put those gift baskets together. We need it from about mid-November to about mid-December-ish. And basically what it is a place where we can gather the donations, put the gift boxes together, and then ship them out from there. Last year, we used the old Willamette Valley Appliance building. I think it's, Sunset and River Road there. We don't know if that's available this year, but if it's not, we need some help. We need a location. So if you have, that was kind of a perfect size. So if you have access to an empty warehouse or part of a warehouse in the Kaiser area that's about that size, we would love to talk to you about borrowing that for a few weeks. So. But yeah, I echo what the mayor said. I can't thank Kaiser enough. I mean, they responded in a way I expected. The cynic in me expected, oh, we're not going to the fairgrounds because that's in Salem. But I never heard that once. It was amazing. People just poured into there, and like I said, several people, Danielle included, we had to literally drag out of there to get them to go home and get some rest. So it was an amazing response from Kaiser, but it's what we can come to expect. And then finally, the mayor mentioned those FEMA resources. several of our local small businesses, mine included, after the disaster declaration for COVID, leaned into the Small Business Administration for help. And, it takes patience, but those agencies are great. I can tell you from personal experience, if you fill out the online form and you haven't heard anything, pick up the phone, especially on a Saturday morning. I was on hold for less than 30 seconds with the SBA on a Saturday morning. So if you fill out the online paperwork and you don't think you've heard anything, pick up the phone, and those people were great. So can't say enough for that response, but please use those resources. Your tax dollars in the good times go to paying for those, and please use them when you need them. So that's what I have.
Well, thank you so much, Jonathan. Thank you to the chamber. A big shout out also to Matt Lawyer, who was part of the
huge.
fairgrounds team.
Matt Lawyer was amazing, and he's not even a small business owner, but every time the chamber needs Matt's there. So big, huge shout out to Matt Lawyer is definitely owed.
Well, he's former military, and all of his logistics experience totally kicks in, and the get her done. But I just want to make sure
we saw the former military side of Matt several times, and it was amazing to see. So.
And it was magical as we made I think very, very heartfelt relationship connections with the people and their animals. One evening I was down there and this little goat came up and she just looked at me with those big eyes and leaned her head in like right here. So I'm rubbing between her horns and her eyes just rolled back like, oh yes, this is wonderful. So it was just really special to connect with people and make sure that they knew that all their needs were important. And we know that people will not leave their homes if the animals can't be taken care of. So knowing the fairgrounds were open, and Kim Grew Powell opened it up immediately. I saw on Facebook in response to Commissioner Cameron's request at 1:30 in the morning, said, it's done, it's open, go. Bring people here, bring their animals. We'll figure it out. But they opened it up immediately. And this, for Commissioner Cameron, he was in the process of fleeing as well because his primary residence is also in Detroit. So people were on it. They were looking out for each other, even in the midst of their own personal disasters. And it was just amazing to be a part of. So thank you so much, Jonathan. And I also want to put a big asterisk on the Percy event. This is important for our families. The needs are going to be greater this year because of COVID, because of the fire, and other hits that people in our community have taken. We want to make sure that every child that has a need this holiday season, that we are able to connect with them and let them know that this community is completely wrapped around them and cares in a very meaningful way, like we always do. So just want to give a big shout out for that program.
Thank you.
Were we able to get Pastor Dominguez today?
No, I don't see he logged in.
Well, he's been so busy, especially reaching out with our Latino families in our community, making sure, along with the folks from Mano a Mano, I want to give a big shout out to Arturo and Vicky, who very early on said, get me what you need translated. We will get that posted. I said, thank you very much. Here we go. I want to make sure everybody has the information about where to get accurate information very quickly. They took it, they grabbed it, they posted it, done. And they were just wonderful to work with. Also, the city of Salem has a Spanish language page, and they started very quickly posting the links in Spanish. And then Marion County Health and the Oregon Health Authority, OHA, began getting information out in multiple languages to make sure people knew not only where to go and how to be safe, but also how to deal with the air quality, which made a lot of people ill. And they needed to know how to take care of themselves and their family members appropriately. So going forward, City Council will meet Monday night in regular session. We'll be on site, the usual COVID precautions in place. We will have a work session the following Monday on inclusion and equity, talking about the work that we've been doing with one of our council goals, and also talking about ways that we are learning how we can continue to make our city operations more equitable for the people in our community. Looking forward to that conversation. Also getting into the fall, please watch, again, Marion County Health, Marion County Sheriffs, and the FEMA sites to get accurate information as we go from this immediate emergency into the long haul, where we're all going to help each other in providing shelter and homes for the people in the communities that have taken a big hit. I also want to give one more shout out to the mayor of Mount Angel, who was disappointed last year, and she's still doing it. God bless her. Really helping. Thanks for the shout out for Drake's Crossing. The volunteers in those communities really helped make sure that people got out safely and that buildings, homes, and businesses were protected. And they really showed up when they needed people to come out and dig fire lines and put out hot spots. They showed up. So Marion County, we rock. It is an amazing place to be. And I'm so thankful for all the community partners that we have. Any last thoughts before we wrap up today and ship this out on Facebook?
Yeah, I'll just comment. I'm here in Lincoln City, and if Kaiser can learn about being ready, join your neighborhood associations, have a go bag. We in Kaiser need to be ready should we need to communicate with our citizens under a dire situation. This fire got really close, and to learn what evacuation 1, 2, 3 was, and to learn if you're in an evacuation zone and you're not being a 3, because our roads here in Lincoln City, it took 4 hours to get out, which is kind of dangerous. And so we're learning, and I think other cities can learn and drill down on steps so that you're a ready community. Because there's wind events that happen. There's just ways we can be ready. And I know Kaiser came to the aid in so many ways, but it's also, I think, a call for us to think about how we can be a connected community. If the power's out, how do you communicate? So these are good discussions, I think, going forward with our Kaiser CERT and how they can collaborate. I'm sure there's stories they did behind the scenes as well with Marion County that we could hear as well of how can we improve, and thank those that have done stuff and no one knows publicly what went on behind the scenes. And this has been a great little drill down to learn from the chamber, businesses, Chariots, our fire district, what we did behind the scenes. And it's pride, spirit, and volunteerism executed for Kaiser. It's just a beautiful thing to see. So with that, wrapping up our Coffee with Kaiser, or Coffee with Cathy, excuse me, we will see you next month, correct, Cathy? And we'll get the word out. And hopefully we don't have ash around our public meeting space, but everybody have an excellent month and stay connected. Thank you very much.